And so every parent wants their kid to play AAU, or not AAU, but Division I basketball. But with Division I basketball, it's a high level of discipline, it's a high level of accountability, and it's a whole great level of self-respect. Because again, if your name is under that tick on ESPN, not only you're embarrassing yourself, you're embarrassing your parents, you're embarrassing the coach, and now the coach gonna get fired. He may not get another job, can't take care of his family, but another coach that's just worried about winning basketball games might come get you. But you're gonna go through that same thing again. So what I talk to parents and players about is developing here mentally. Because the game is really more about your mental capacity than your physical, development. You can jump high, but can you read a screen that's coming? Can you run a play?
Man, no doubt. 1 2 1 2.
You got to know your role. And knowing your role is knowing the strength that you have and like how you bring that to whatever team you're on. So that's knowing your 1 and your 1A. So for like homework, you got to understand what's your 1 and what's your 1A and be real honest with yourself. The second thing is KYP. You got to know your personnel. Know who to get, know who to get the ball to, when to get them the ball, and where to get them the ball. And then the third thing is just what's your personal value level, right? Like what value do you bring to each situation that you're in? Now, because you can talk the basketball language and you understand things, again, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. When you do that, now it makes basketball so much easier. Because where everybody else trying to get in where they fit in, y'all are creating your own lane.
Good afternoon, good evening, or good morning, depending on where you're watching this from. My name is Carvel Bailey, and I want to welcome you to another episode. It's a late lunch and learn, almost like dinner, right? Dinner, and just understand, right? So today, I'm not going to be before you all long. Huh? Daddy. Oh, yeah. I got my son right here. He's a real superhero. So let me know where you're checking in from. Again, my name is Coach Carvel Bailey. I'm with Bless the Ball Skill Development Academy, as well as Bless the Ball Consulting. And what we do is we help student athletes get recruited, even if they are not 5-star athletes. And so today, I want to real quick. I want to break down. I want to help my parents today. I want to help my parents to be able to help your athlete. So let's talk situational basketball. Situational basketball is not just a half court game. Situational basketball is not just a fast break game. Situational basketball are different things throughout the game that happens, right? And you have to know, athletes have to think on the fly what's going to happen. So let me frame it. Let me make it more practical. From an educational standpoint, we have tons of teachers, tons of educators that can learn from a book. But then when they get in class and they get in class with, let's say, some issues or fight, or let's say individuals that they didn't necessarily know their personality or like their background, their family background, their family history, social emotional concerns, trauma, all of those things. This book doesn't help teachers. So what happens, we see a lot of teachers fresh out of college and they have the book knowledge, but they don't have the common sense, so to speak. And so that's what we're going to speak about today from an athlete standpoint, right? Just helping athletes get a little common sense with understanding basketball. Because I say it and I pound the table, I'll say it again. It really does not matter. It really does not matter once you get to a certain level, the skill level. That really doesn't matter. What matters when you get to a certain skill level are all of the intangibles. right? What does the athlete bring to the game? What value do they bring to the game besides being able to score? Because everybody can score and everybody can play when you get up to a certain level, particularly the college level. And so I just want to help some athletes. So we're going to talk about 3 things with situational basketball that I think if athletes truly understood, it will help their recruiting stock. It will help their playing time. It will also help their playing ability. And for my parents and coaches that's out here listening, it'll save you some stress. So I'm going to break down 3 things. Somebody can type them in the chat if you're following me, right? So we have people on. Don't be, shy. Don't be a hermit. Type in where you watching from. If you go run away, then that's fine. You can go run away. You can come back and catch the replay. But we just want to know where we are reaching people, because our goal is to be able to reach 1 million people over the next 2 years and to be able to help parents save $1 million on college tuition in the next 2 years. So let us know where you're checking in from, and let's get into it. All right. So I watched the game the other day, and I saw a team that was up 13 points, and they were up 11 points. They had just went on like a 4-0 run, and they got a steal. And they went on a 6-0 run, and that 5th and 6th point was a dunk. And then the ref teed them up. Now, this is situational basketball, and I'll get into it in a second. What happened, that dunk put them up 13. There was a technical foul for hanging on the rim. The other team hit both free throws of the technical foul. Now that whole dunk, the whole momentum of the dunk, everything with that play goes out the window. Immediately after the dunk, the tech, 2 free throws I made, the dunk isn't even remembered by those people that really understand basketball, right? Now what happened after that, the team went on a 10-0 run to close the third quarter. They wound up winning the game by 5. They wound up finishing the game with, I believe, let me go to my phone. Let me go to my phone because I'm going to give you the facts. I'm going to give you the facts on this one. All right. So they went. Yep, up 13. The score was 37-24 with 2 minutes and 21 seconds to play, right? I'm giving you the context so now I can give you the content of situational basketball, and so that your athletes don't make the same mistake, right? Don't hurt their team, don't hurt their chances, but more importantly, they'll be to understand basketball. 2:21 left, up 13, 37-24. You get a tech. Now the quarter ends 39-34. So they go on a 10-0 run to close the quarter, right? Athletes, if you're not closing quarters, you're probably not going to be part of a team that wins a lot, right? I can get into that later. Now, they went on a 26-9 run to close the game, 26-9 run in the last 10 minutes and 21 seconds. So there's a team out here that allowed 26 points in the last 10 minutes and 21 seconds. 26 points. But the team had 24 points throughout the first 23, 24 minutes of the game. So what happened is this, right? The dunk changed the game because the tech, 2 free throws, wiped away the dunk. Then the momentum built. Now the other team starts missing layups. The other team starts turning the ball over. The other team starts hitting threes, getting rebounds. Plays start going their way, all because the team and the athlete didn't understand situational basketball. So here's what I mean. There are 3 things with situational basketball that athletes must understand. Athletes must understand the pace of the game. They must understand the flow of the game. And they must also understand the mood of the game. And these are 3 totally different things. And when athletes can understand this, when coaches can understand this, it will help not only the game of basketball, but your athlete's game. And parents, if you understand this, you can then help your athlete, right? Or you can get your athlete with a program like ours to be able to help your athlete. So most athletes don't pay attention to the flow of the game. The flow of the game is based on how smooth, right? How much continuity the game has. Some people may say gracefully, right? Some, not choppy, not stops and plays all the time, but the flow of the game. How is it moving, right? Think about somebody jogging or just the rivers flowing. It's nice and smooth, right? You're running plays, right? You're executing, you're playing defense, you're getting rebounds, you're getting the ball out. The game is going, has a nice flow to it, right? Not a lot of turnovers, defense, offense, right? Got a nice flow to it. Can you understand where I'm going with it, right? Athletes have to understand what's the flow of the game, because if it has a nice flow in it, when athletes come in and now they're like this, or the game gets like this, turnovers, kicking the ball out of bounds, turning it over, missing layups, a lot of fouls. Now it's not a flow of the game. And when it's a flow of the game, just like if you have a yo-yo or if you dribble in the basketball, most athletes that can dribble the basketball, they dribble with a certain rhythm or a certain flow. It has to be a certain continuity to how they dribble. So when athletes play, they have to understand that the game of basketball has flows to it. And your athlete has to be able to see the flow, catch the flow, right? So any moms that's out here listening, double dutch, right? Any moms that's listening, double dutch. It was a flow with the rope. And where I grew up, right, with the young ladies turning the rope, the good jumpers, just like good players, understand me, I'm going somewhere. The good double dutch jumpers, they didn't jump in that rope if that person couldn't turn. Where I grew up, the young ladies where I grew up, in the neighborhood where I grew up, if somebody was turning that rope for the young ladies while we playing basketball, they playing double dutch. I don't even know if young ladies even jump rope anymore. Somebody can help me out, right? But they didn't get in that rope if that person didn't know how to turn, because the flow was off. Does that make sense? And so coaches have to understand what players to put in the game based on the flow, but the athletes that are in the game has to understand there is a flow to the game of basketball, and they have to understand that flow and be able to catch it. Most athletes don't understand that there's a certain flow to every game. That's the first part that I want them to understand. The second part that I want athletes to understand, yes, there's a flow to the game. Offense, defense, offense, defense, offense, defense. There's also a pace to the game as well. This is what some athletes get confused, because they may know that there's a certain pace to the game. Now, the pace is the rate of speed, right? Because you can have a flow to the game if both teams are running fast. Does that make sense? You can have a flow if both teams are half court, right? You can have a flow if one team is fast, one team is slow. But you have to pick up on the pace and identify and recognize the pace, right? But you also have to recognize the flow. It's two totally different things. How fast are we playing? How fast is the other team playing? How quick are things happening? Two totally different things. Quickness and speed, two totally different things. How quick are the referees responding? How fast is the game going? That's pace. That's not necessarily the flow. Because you can have the game at a certain pace, and then based on the whistle or the stoppage in play, that can mess the flow of the game up. I hope I'm making sense. And again, at Bless the Ball Consulting, Bless the Ball Skill Development, this is what we do. We help athletes understand the game mentally so that they can better play the game physically. Shout out to everybody that's a part of our Mamba Mentality Masterclass. Also, you see the link down there. You can go register for week 2. Go register for week 2 of our Mamba Mentality Masterclass. $24.08. We holding true to Kobe Bryant. We got 2 more weeks left you can still register. You can still register. It's Friday night. You may go buy your kid dinner, right? But why not buy them the gift that's going to keep on giving? That education to be able to help their mindset and help them to become a better basketball player by just understanding things like this, right? So we have the flow of the game, and then we have the pace of the game, whatever that might be. But then we have the mood of the game. And so the game that I saw that I'm talking about with the dunk and, the momentum change and everything, there's a certain mood between these two institutions. It's kind of a rivalry, but it's not really a rivalry. But there's a certain mood, right? There are certain moods to certain games. And athletes have to understand the mood, right? What's the feeling? What's the frame of mind in the game, right? When you walk into a game, there's a certain energy about the game. There's a certain mood about the game. When you have two rivalries, it's a different type of mood in second round of conference than it may be in preseason, right? It's still going to be a flow. It's still going to be a pace, but there's always going to be a mood. Sometimes athletes don't perform their best when they're not playing against competition that they think is worthy of them giving their best. Well, that's a certain mood to the game. That's really where a lot of athletes lose it because they don't know how to turn it on, turn it off, and they believe that they do, right? Or you have two teams that butt heads, right? I'm rocking my Malcolm X shirt. Shout out is Black History, right? Shout out to the institution, not necessarily the people of the institution, but shout out to the institution of it's only one college. There's only one college in the country with this name on it, right? A little known Black history fact. It's only one college. It's only one college in the country that bears this name. Maybe some high schools, some private schools, but it's only one college that bears its name. And I'm privileged to have the best winning record in that school's history, right? Thank God. Because my players understood these three things that I'm giving to you for your athlete. What's the flow of the game? What's the pace of the game? And what's the mood of the game? So when a school like Malcolm X played a school like Kennedy King, there was a certain mood of the game. And that mood affected the officials. It affected the crowd. It affected the scorekeepers. It affected the coaches. It affected the parents, and it affected the players. But we knew coming in what the mood of the game was. And so based on the mood of the game, we understood that there was going to be a certain flow to the game as well. Because we knew in these games, it was probably going to be a lot of fouls because of the mood. They didn't like us. We didn't like them. And we also understood that whoever controlled the pace of the game, not necessarily the flow, because we understood the flow of the game was going to be choppy because of the fouls and all those things, because of the mood. But whoever controlled the pace of the game would come out victorious. And that's the whole point that I'm speaking of tonight, right? We understood situational basketball. What I saw the other night, I don't think the team or the players understood situational basketball. Because these three things happen in every basketball game. There's always a flow, there's always a pace, and there's always a mood to the game. And then finally, when we talk about flow continuity, I want more athletes to learn how to play basketball and not necessarily learn how to do moves. Parents, if you really want your kid recruitable, get your kid to understand how to play the game of basketball, not necessarily figure out what moves they can do in the game of basketball. Because basketball is a game of continuity, right? Meaning it's a game of balance. So can your athlete play in the post one pass and then wind up at the top of the key the next pass, and then wind up at the wing on the next pass, right? And then shuffle cut through on the next pass. can they understand the game and can they play in a continuity style offense? Because for every coach in the world, and I'm one, I had about 70 basketball plays. So my athletes had to be cerebral to understand all the basketball plays. But now my athletes can understand all the basketball plays, but it didn't matter if they didn't understand basketball. Does that make sense? Because once that basketball play breaks down, now we have situational basketball. Does that make sense? Once the play breaks down, right? So you pass over here, you cut through, but now pass over here and cut through. If that pass is not available, if we can't run the offense and that play breaks down, now most teams, most coaches go to what's called a continuity motion offense for the remainder of the shot clock or the remaining of that possession. The actual play is just a formation, a foundation to play continuity style basketball. But what's happening now, we get a lot of coaches and they run a lot of pick and rolls. But with pick and rolls, you have to know still situational basketball. Pick and roll. What happens when the defense switches? Now we're in situational basketball. Pick and roll. What happens if they trap? Now we're in situational basketball. Does that make sense? Right? Pick and roll. What happens if they switch? Situational basketball. But if your athlete doesn't understand this, then what'll happen? Now in a pick and roll, they'll switch, and your athlete will still be attempting to run the play, but now they may not necessarily understand situational basketball because now once that switch occurred and the guard has the big on them, and now the big has the guard on them, we're in situational basketball. So now you have to understand, right, the mood of the game. You have to understand the flow of the game. You have to understand the pace of the game and where your advantages is within all three of those things. So I just wanted to drop on here a little later than I normally do for my lunch and learn, but I wanted to drop on here and just drop that because things do happen. But with this season, with this COVID season, and with recruiting coming, heating up, still hasn't stopped, I want athletes to be the best version of themselves when somebody is watching them. Right? And I'll tell parents, the worst thing that can happen for your athlete is if they're on a team with someone that has already signed to go to college, but that athlete may not know how to play basketball. Right? I talk about being selfish. Athletes are selfish. We're not talking about that today. But now what happens, those individuals that's already got theirs, they aren't thinking, well, everybody else now has to get what I have as well. So that happens by winning. This is the results business. You either win or you lose, period. And your athlete's stock will increase if they can win. It doesn't matter where they are on the depth chart on that team. If their team is winning, they have a higher opportunity to go to school for free than if they're on a team that's losing. And if you're on a team of selfish individuals, and let's say, God forbid, some of them already know what they're doing post high school, and your athlete is one of those individuals that haven't yet signed, it may be a long year for them. It may have been a long year for them, and it can really frustrate them and affect their mindset with basketball. So please get it corrected early, right? Get it, straight. And again, as I leave, register for this Mamba Masterclass, right? Tomorrow, 9 a.m., we back at it. 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, Mamba Mentality Masterclass. Listen, you work on your athletes. You pay for your athletes to go to training, right? So you want to work on their game, right? You may even pay for your, athlete to maybe go to private school. I'm not sure, depending on where, you pay for your athlete to get all type of clothes and, all those type of things. But, you may pay for your athlete to go to the dentist, or it may pay for them to go to the eye doctor, whatever. But how much are you investing to really get your athlete to work on their mind as it relates to them as an athlete and as a student and as a person, right? If you're investing all this money, all this time into different avenues for your athlete, right? Like if you put gas in your car, and you're like the engine, right? The car needs gas to be able to fuel the engine, which is the mind of the car, right? To get it moving. Well, if you put gas in your car or go get your car to get checkups and all those things, like, don't you think that your athlete probably needs some type of restructuring or development enhancement with their brain box? I mean, think about it, right? Most people don't want to, talk about it because most people may, man, you saying there's something wrong with my child. Call it how you want. But what I do know, and I've been doing this for 28 years, what I do know, the student athletes that has had the most success, they've had a different mindset than those individuals that just want to play. And so this is your opportunity, right? This is your opportunity to help your athletes start to understand the game from the other side, right? And the more that you can get your athlete to understand the game from the other side, that will help them get to the other side quicker, if that makes sense. All right. So that's all I wanted to give y'all today. Flow, pace, and mood. Flow, pace, and mood of the basketball game, right? Now, I know, I'm not sure if y'all watching us on YouTube. Not sure if you're watching us on Facebook or wherever, right? But again, let us know where you coming, checking in from. If you're watching the replay, if you're part of the replay squad, right? Replay gang, whatever you want to call it, then drop in the comments, replay. Let us know that you're checking it out, right? If you're just here just for the information and you just want to peek in, whatever, that's fine. We welcome you, to the chat. We welcome you to Life in Basketball or Lunch and Learn, whichever you want to call it. Come back and join us. All right. But one thing that I want you to do when it's all said and done, the one thing that I want you to do, I want you to make sure that your athlete is ready mentally. Don't let any coach tell you that it's all about them physically, right? Because we see time and time again the athletes physically, but it don't hold up because they don't have what it takes to endure and persevere mentally. Coaches want mentally tough athletes. Coaches want confident athletes. And more important, coaches want athletes that can add value to what they're doing with their program. All right. So I hope this helps you. Go check out our, go register for our masterclass as well as, check out our free case study training right here. BeTheRightRecruit.com, and it is going to give you 3 secrets, right? 3 secrets that most recruiters, most scouts, most college coaches will not tell you. Most recruiters, most scouts, most college coaches will not tell you as the parent, because this whole recruitment thing is a game. And if you don't understand the game, you may lose. All right. So go check out our free case study video. And if at that point you like our help with anything that we talked about today or anything that we talk about in the free training, then you can reach out to us, right? Apply to work with us, schedule your discovery call, your free discovery call, and we can hop on the phone and we can see if you and your athlete is a good fit for what we do here at Bless the Ball. All right. So share this video. Definitely, if it gave you any type of value, share this video. And I see y'all on the other side. As I always say, keep striving for the top because it is crowded as hell with a lot of people that don't understand the game at the bottom. All right. Coach Carvel Bailey, y'all be good. Peace.
Persistence, consistency, and finishing what you started. Time. How much time are you putting into your craft? I believe you don't lose, you learn. So you just ran out of time. Does that make sense? Like that contest, y'all just ran out of time. But how much time do you think you have before it's over? Right? How you do one thing is how you do everything. Don't matter if you're a damn All-American. Like, you got a job to do, so trust. Y'all not mentally tough because y'all don't trust not only each other, but you don't trust yourself. And you don't trust yourself because how much time you putting in. The ones that put the time in, they trust one another. They believe in themselves. So if y'all believe that y'all can do it, y'all should be going harder. Y'all should be holding one another accountable. Whatever you can do to help this team, that's what y'all need to happen. Everybody can't score. Everybody ain't fast. What everybody can do, what everybody that ever plays basketball should be able to do if they play basketball, they should be able to play defense and play hard. Them the only two things you can control.
Just show hey, who want to play basketball? Honestly, who want to play basketball? All right, who has to play basketball? We just cracked the code. And dudes that y'all play, they got to get their mom out the hood. The dudes that y'all playing, they living in a trap. The dudes that y'all playing ain't getting no sleep. So I got to get any advantage that I can. So what choices are y'all making? That's the point I'm getting to. Are you making a choice to play defense? Are you making a choice to pass the ball? Hell, are you making a choice to come to practice? And I commend y'all because y'all here in the evening. But guess what? Circle gets smaller. Try out, that circle was big, wasn't it? Circle gets smaller, dog. Everybody don't make it.
Hello everyone, my name is Malcolm Griffin. Here to give you my testimonial review on the DISC assessment that I completed with Carvel Bailey. To start off, I want to say Carvel knows me really well, so it was good for him to reach out to me to get me to do this. Known me for more than half of my life. He was my first high school basketball coach. Really showed me a different formula to coaching and to motivate players. His technique is one of the most efficient techniques that I've witnessed as a player. And doing this assessment, I really learned a lot about myself. It really blew my mind how Carvel broke everything down for me after I did the assessment. Short 15 questionnaire that you list your the things that you more likely of being to the least. And at the end, it came out to something that I really can relate to, that I wouldn't have really seen without this assessment. So I advise everyone to take 10 minutes out your day, get the assessment done. You can really find out a lot about yourself. I think that's one of the lost, how can I say? I think it's one of the lost methods that we have of life is knowing who we are. Some people don't really know who they are, and it's not a fault to them. It's just life. And this assessment really will help you know who you are, know your strengths and weaknesses, and how you can improve. So I want to thank Coach Bailey for reaching out and presenting me with this assessment. And I pray you find out who you are soon too. Thank you.